Hello and welcome to Survival Preparedness for Beginners. My name is Charles and we're going to continue on with the canned goods. We're going to talk about how to store your canned goods and we're going to talk about nutritional value. Once again, if you would please, before we get going, reach up there and hit that like button, click that share button, reach over and hit subscribe and hit the little bell. So this way you get notified every time I do a video. Okay, let's get going here. Now we talked before about all these different kind of canned goods to buy, and why and how to do them, finding some best deals and so on and so forth. Now we're going to talk a little bit about storage and nutrition. First thing off is storage. Storage, you want to be storing your canned goods in a cool, dry place. You want to find a place in your home, whether it be in your kitchen, a spare room, spare closet, anything, inside your home. Do not store stuff out in your garage. For one, if you live where it's hot, the garage is way too hot and it'll cause the stuff to go bad. For two, if you live up north and you get the sub-zero cold weather for 6 months out of the year, well, you don't want to put it out there either because this stuff could freeze and it could burst on you. You could have one heck of a mess. And if it freezes and you don't know it and you go to use it in an emergency, when you open it, more than likely it's going to be bad. Same thing with the heat. The heat would more or less cause them to bulge, so that'd be a good indicator that something's wrong. So you want to store these things in your house. You want to try to find a room that you can do this in. What I have done, and I will be showing you in a later video, what I have done is in my spare room, I have took and I bought me a 4-tier shelf, and it's about 4 feet wide and 2 feet deep probably. Fits right in the closet and close the door. Nobody can see it. And I put it right in there, and that's where I store all my emergency supplies. My emergency supplies that I store for down here mainly have to do with hurricanes. And the reason that I store them and I have an ample supply of them is I'm not into having to deal with running to the store when they finally decide that a hurricane is coming. And it's the same way up north if there's a blizzard, or out west with fires and everything. Any type of a natural disaster that they know is coming, when they tell the American people that it is coming, what's the first thing they do? They ransack the grocery stores. Even a mouse can't find a little crumb of bread. There's nothing left. And I don't want to be put in that situation. I don't want to be in there fighting over a loaf of bread and a can of beans and a half a gallon of milk. So I choose to be prepared. I'm prepared year round, doesn't matter whatever the situation is. So with storage, you want to make sure that, like I said, that you store it inside in a cool and dark spot. One other thing that you probably could do is we all have cabinets that we do not use. Every household has them. And it's usually the typical ones that they put up above the kitchen stove or your refrigerator. There's a lot of people out there, they can't even reach them. You get short people, they can't reach it without a stepladder. So typically what goes up in those areas is the things that you hardly ever use. So what I would suggest is, if you have a garage, is to take the stuff that you don't use, get you a shelf or clear a shelf in the garage and take it out there and put it out there and free up that space. This way here, you could store your emergency supplies, because this way here, it's for emergencies only. So you're only going to go up there as if it's an emergency. You're not going to be climbing up there every day and grabbing cans of stuff to eat. You're going to buy this stuff and you'll put it up there and you're done with it. Now the bonus thing to using a separate area that you can get to constantly, like with my shelving system in the spare room, is that I use it as my own storefront, as you could say. It's very easy accessible. You go in there, and if I say use, I'm making a green bean casserole. I use 4 cans of green beans out of there. If I don't have any in my cupboard. Well, now I know I need to replace 4 cans of green beans that go into my little shelves in there. And this way here I can rotate my stock, and it's called a working emergency supply. And this way here you're kind of filtering the stuff out as you slowly go along on this. You don't have stuff just setting and setting. Which is fine if that's the way you have to do it, then that's the way you need to do it. But with storing them, the biggest thing is a cool, dark place, and it's got to be dry. Dry, dry, dry. No moisture. Metal cans do not like moisture. They will rust, and once they start to rust, it's not good. So that's the biggest thing with storing your canned goods is dry, cool, and dark. Now let's talk about a little bit of nutrition. Nutrition is a little tricky because when it comes to an emergency situation, you're not so much worried about being on your diet anymore. You're going to eat whatever you have to eat. It doesn't matter if you look at something and you're like, oh my God, look at the fat intake and the saturated fats and everything else. The reason for your emergency food is to survive for you and your family. Remember that. This isn't the time to be thinking about your diet and, this is going to, I'm going to put on a few pounds, buy some stretchy pants. So, you want to go out and you want to look for some really good stuff, like I showed you this before, but we're going to talk about calories. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. Look at the calories. There's 100 calories. There's 8 servings in this. So there's 800 calories in this one little ham. That's pretty good. What you have to remember is whatever your situation is, and either it be a hurricane and the hurricane's gone through, you've gone out, you've got trees down, you've got your ripped off your house, whatever, you're out there cutting and working on everything, you're burning calories. The same goes with if you're up north and you get a blizzard, a big snowstorm, an ice storm, whatever, you're out there chipping ice, shoveling snow, the whole 9 yards. It's no different, only one's hot and one's cold. But you're burning the calories. Nutrition is key. You got to keep the calories up, because as you keep burning these, and I have seen situations where you're out of power for anywhere from a week to 2 weeks. So you want to make sure that you may not be able to get out. Depending on where you live, you may be trapped. I've been there, done that before. So you look at the calories on these things. These are green beans. There's 15 calories. There's 3.5 servings per this container. 15 calories for green beans. That ain't much. You want to start going with like your beans. There's 130 calories in there per serving, and there's 3.5 servings. Any type of bean is really good. The ham was good. Tuna fish. Now, what I would do is, because as you can see, there's not really much to these little cans of tuna fish, and once you take the water out, it's even less. So what I would do is, because on this can, a serving size is 1/4 of a cup, and the calories is 60 for 1/4 of a cup. Tuna fish is relatively inexpensive, all right? Especially if you go to like Aldi's, you can buy tuna fish for next to nothing. But I would stockpile this just so this would be for one person. I'm not splitting this with 2 other people. Because, in tuna, your omega-3s, you get high in omega-3s, which are really good for you. Your nutritional value, the calories, you're getting everything that you need right here. If you took this with a little bit of, nowadays, they make all these pouches now of like rice. Down here we can even get the instant in a pouch spaghettis. You can take and just mix a can of these with a can of rice and you got a meal. You don't even have to cook it. You know? Spam. Now, it's not everybody's favorite, but let me tell you what, in a pinch, let's just think about this. You know, there's 180 calories. And there's 12 servings per container. So for each one of these, this is a 2-pack. So for each one of these, there's 8 servings, or 12 servings, excuse me. 180 calories. Granted, I wouldn't want to eat this cold, but if push comes to shove, you got to do what you got to do. And your kids, you know, your kids are running around, you know, maybe they're helping you out. Maybe they're out there shoveling snow or carrying tree debris or whatever else, you know. That's why I was talking about Chef Boyardee. The reason being is kids burn a lot of calories. There's 250 calories in this can. Serving size is 1 cup. That's about 2 servings in this can. So if you stockpile this, I know at Walmart, sometimes they run these things for 88 cents. You stockpile these things, and if you just eat, if you have one just for, even for an adult, I mean, there's 500 calories just eating this one can, and you don't even have to heat it up. You don't even have to have a can opener. All you got to do is pull that top, and dinner's served. Chili. Chili's a good one. Now this one doesn't have beans in it, but I bet if it had beans in it, it'd be even more than what it is. Calories. 260. So if you took a can of these, all right, that's 260 calories. Serving size is 1 cup. There's 2 servings in here. You took some of your beans here, just because this one has no beans in it. And there's 130 calories in here, and there's 3.5 servings in here. And you mix these together, wow, you got a pretty good meal going here. It's going to replace those calories. Chunky soups. I like a lot of these. My favorite is New England clam chowder. They do make quite a few different ones, and I've tried some of the other ones, and they're pretty good. But if I'm going to buy them, this is what I eat. All right, you get 12 grams of protein. Calories per serving. There's 180 calories per serving. If you eat the whole thing, that's 390 calories. Not to mention 12 grams of protein. You know, you can go on and on about this. You know, you want to make sure that you had a nice variety of food that you can mix together so that, for one, it tastes good. You know, yes, it's an emergency situation, but if there's one little thing that usually people tend to grasp onto in an emergency situation is if they can get a hot meal or a meal, period. How many times do you see something that happens and you see people out that have pre-made meals and they're passing them out, and you would have just thought you handed that person $100 bill and all you did was give them a meal. So if you can take and you can mix some of your vegetables and your beans in with your ham, your tuna fish, I mean, you can even take these if you wanted to boost it up a little bit. So you take a can of these and you throw in some more potatoes and some green beans. It's already got carrots in it. Well, you just made a nice little meal. You know, your Vienna sausages. These are great little snacks. Just a snack. You know, I wouldn't consider these a meal, but you know, some people may. You know, I'm sorry, but there's nothing to them. But there's 120 calories, and serving size is 4 sausages and servings per 2. I mean, anybody could sit down and eat all these right out of here. You know, the hardest part is getting the first one out. But what I would also say is once you diversify what you have and how you're storing it and everything else, I would take your manual can opener, because a lot of people nowadays use the electric, and I would put it in with, say, a few spoons, forks, something like that, in a little plastic container, and store it right in with whatever your emergency supplies are. This way here, if something does happen and it's dark, or that part of your house got destroyed by the hurricane winds and you can't get over there, the roof was ripped off, but you got these in another room, you have this just in case you have to open one of these, because not everything is pull top. Just about everything is, but not everything is. It's a lot safer to do this than it is to use a knife. Yes, there's a lot of people out there really good with knives and everything else, but in a sense, if you need the knife for something else, why do you want to dull your knife opening a metal can if you can get these at the dollar store for $1? There's nothing to them. So on that note, we're going to leave that there. So we're going to recap a little bit. You're going to make sure that you store your canned goods in a cool, dark, dry place in your home. You're going to try to get a nice variety of things so you can have a good variety of food for you and your family. You want to make sure you get a variety of things that are high in calories. And you also want to make sure that everything that you are buying, 90% of it is what you will eat, and the other 10% is what you won't eat. So that's going to conclude our little discussion today on canned goods. I look forward to talking to you all again. I thank you very much for what you do for my channel. I thank you for watching all my videos, and I thank you for clicking the like button, hitting the share, hit the subscribe button, click that little bell. This is Survival Preparedness for Beginners. Catch you on the flip side.